Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir SilentGods video. In today's video, I want to talk about the rare specifically, and I want to talk about what I believe to be the top 10 rare DPS champions that you should focus on if you don't have that many legendaries, epics, you know. And these are going to be the ones that will be especially helpful for the Goblin Slayer, okay? Because that's early on the most important dungeon that you want to farm, because the more Goblin Slayer you farm, the higher you advance, the more of the XP potions you will get, and therefore it's going to make your job a lot easier in order to, you know, build some more characters, build some more heroes to help you progress through the game. So I'm just going to be referencing mostly, for those of you that do not know, the tier list that myself, Scasterix, and Scratch have been working on for quite a while, and we're constantly improving this, we're constantly changing stuff around, and we're always taking feedback from you guys, you know, in case we rated somebody too high or we rated somebody too low. So this is what I will be looking at, and this is what I'm going to reference the people from. So just going to move it back to the side, because it's you know, it's really bright. But I'm gonna go through them, and I'm just gonna show you guys in the gallery and explain a little bit why they are like that. And you know, they might not be specifically in this order, like you know, this is number 1, this is number 10. It's just I try to go through it, have a look, and see exactly who deserves to be on the list. But one of the ones that definitely deserves to be in the top, and this one's arguably the best rare DPS, if not actually the best rare champion in the game, and that is Usha. Maybe you've heard a lot about Usha, maybe you've been seeing her on tier lists, maybe you heard people talking about it. And the reason why Usha is so good, let me move myself to the side. I'm sorry for people that get annoyed that I move myself to the side so I can show the skills, but anyway. The reason why Usha is so good is, well, first of all, she brings an HP aura in dungeons by 24%. That helps a ton for survivability, but it's all about her skills and her AoE damage. So if you look first at her ultimate, slashes forcefully twice, each dealing 400% attack, okay? So that's the area that it shows us that she does the damage, but that's not all. Check this out. With a 100% chance of inflicting frost, this skill deals double damage to enemies inflicted with frost. So this one basically already does 800% AoE damage in that area that you see over there, but if they have frost, and normally you would pair her, if you decide to build her, you would pair her with somebody else that brings you frost in the team, that would mean 1600 AoE damage. That's massive. That's the damage that, you know, epics or legendaries do. It's not, you know, full board, or it's not a massive area, but still, that's a ton of damage, and that's why Usha is so good. Then also, she brings herself on this battle skill. She gains a shield and attack speed up for 10 seconds, and it's the big version of attack speed up. And then if you look at her basic skill, every second basic attack at an enemy under frost deals double damage. So her kit overall is just insane. If you build her around somebody else that brings you some frost, she's gonna be doing a ton of damage with this one. Give her some skill haste to come back to that, and it's gonna be pretty good. And at the same time, she has a pretty good attack speed. You know, the attack interval is 185. That's pretty low. Normally people have between 2 and 2.5 seconds for attack interval, so that's why Usha is number 1. Now we're gonna move over to some poison ones, and funny enough, while I was doing this, I noticed that most of the best AoE DPS are actually poison. The next one we're gonna talk about is Eli. Again, Eli is another one that maybe you heard a ton about, because again, he's really good when you're pairing him with some other poison people. But first of all, he brings a captain aura that gives you attack in all battles by 18%. That's pretty good. You know, you can use him anywhere. Vortex, Goblin Slayer, Arena, he's gonna have this aura. Then his ultimate does 235% attack damage 3 times, but it's just in that range. So specifically for specifically for Goblin, this is usually helpful because the Goblins come paired up. So this one's gonna be doing a ton of damage. Congrats Arsir for getting Sutha from the other horn. So yeah, this is one that hits pretty hard. At the same time, on the battle skill, he gives himself attack up, and that helps as well. Plus he does some damage that also places a stack of poison. The way you would build him, there's like several ways. You either build him straight up to smack, for this ultimate skill, or you build him with some accuracy and attack and alignment and just ignore critical range and critical damage because of the poisons that he stacks and this passive. When dealing damage to enemies under poison, additional deals 40% attack, 40% of his attack derivative poison damage. This one goes up to 65. 45, 55. And basically, like I said, if you just ignore the crit, because this one cannot crit, he still can do a ton of damage. So that's why I placed him in this tier list. Next one is going to be Lorari. Again, he has a pretty interesting name, but this skill is just massive from him. Not only does he do 60% AoE damage in that area, but at the same time, when he's fully scrolled up, he has a 100% chance of inflicting 3 stacks of poison. I think this is the best skill that places poisons from all rares and epics. This is like, you know, a massive amount. If you pair him with Eli, you're gonna do some crazy damage. Then on his battle skill, he also deals good damage to one person, again with a chance to inflict 2 layers of poison. So if you're gonna use him in other places, not just Goblin, in Temporal Vortex, he's gonna be awesome because he will be placing a ton of poisons. Then on his passive, when dealing damage to an enemy, each stack of poison on them allows the damage to ignore 2.5% of the target's defense. Ignoring defense is really important, really good. So this one again helps him to make the top 10 of this list, in my opinion. Then the next one is going to be Sigrid. You might have seen Sigrid on my channel for quite a while, because I have been using her in a lot of my teams to beat, you know, content as sort of like a free-to-play team. You know, I was using Horus, Exandra, the Adventurer, Sigrid, and then somebody else depending on the dungeon. So the reason why she's so amazing is because of this ultimate, okay? So this one deals 820% attack to an enemy and all enemies inflicted with debuffs with a 100% chance of inflicting heal prohibition and attack penalty down. So again, it can be any debuff. You pair her with somebody else that does AoE poisons, anybody that does AoE decrease attack, AoE decrease defense, like anything. Any other debuff, you pair her with them and then she will do this attack AoE. Not only that, but this synergizes perfectly with her passive that does the following. When an enemy inflicted with debuff dies, the hero gains 25% ultimate energy. That's massive. And the reason why this one's so good is because it does not have to be her that kills them, okay? Anybody can kill them as long as they have debuffs. She's gonna come back to her ultimate and she's gonna do it again and again and again. So that's just massive. She also brings accuracy in all battles, and her battle skill, again, shoots 2 arrows, does some decent damage, and bringing the heal prohibition as well. So I've been mentioning in my previous videos where I used her, she is the best heal prohibition champion in the game. I don't think there's any other one, unless I'm missing something, that does heal prohibition on the battle skill and on the ultimate. And that's why Sigrid is so good. She definitely had to make the list. Now, the next one, we're going to jump over to Lightning, is going to be Irina. This is something that you need to keep in mind. Don't get tricked by the fact that they are called support. Like, a lot of good DPS champions in this game have the tag of support in here, but that does not matter. What Irina brings is, on her ultimate, this 710% attack to enemies in the range, again, you know, pretty decent range, with a 100% chance of inflicting attack down and a 100% chance of dispelling 1 buff from them. That's huge. Like, not only the damage, but the debuff and the buff removal is just massive. At the same time, she brings more AoE, in a sense, from her battle skill, where she unleashes a chain lightning, dealing 360% attack that can bounce up to 3 times. So this one's basically 3 hits, it hits 3 enemies, and it's better than just, you know, a single target hit. So again, this one's massive. Then on her passive, whenever the hero deals damage to enemies by skills, grants a 10% target max HP shield to the nearest ally for 10 seconds. This effect can only be triggered once every 1 second, and it can be enhanced. So again, she's definitely a top tier rare. She's definitely up there in the top 5 for sure. She's just an amazing one. I have not played with her, but I've seen Stu Gaming use her a lot, and I see why. I see why, because she's really good. Now we're gonna move over to the fire people, because I'm trying to sort of like focus the AoE first, and then we have one of the new ones that has been released in the not in the closed beta, but this season it was the same as Sigrid, and I think Lorari is a new one. But what Glowing does is, this ultimate launches 3 blasts of flame, each dealing 240% attack. So this one's what, 480, 720 AoE, again, good area. with a 50%, 75% chance when scrolled up of dispelling one buff from them. So this one has a pretty good chance of dispelling it, minimum one, if not like, you know, up to 3. But normally I guess you would have 1 or 2. And it's a pretty good damage on a pretty good area. Then on his battle skills, deals 350% damage to enemies within range with 100% chance of inflicting blind. This is especially helpful for Goblin if you're not going to bring tanks or healers, because if they are inflicted with blind, they're gonna not do any damage. Okay, blind says prevents basic attacks hitting their targets. So again, this one's pretty massive. Then on the passive, grants a shield to the ally, to an ally for 10 seconds when they are under control. It takes effect once every 10 seconds at most. This one's not gonna come into play that often, but in some areas this can be good. So that's why again, glowing makes a list. Now next one is somebody that is a little bit of a tricky one, but is actually a god tier one if you pair him with the right people, and that is Tio. Okay, Tio is the only rare in the game that has a legendary Captain Aura. Increases all allies attack by 30% in all battles. You heard that right, all battles. This is just massive. This alone just puts him at the top. But why is he also good? Well, he has this ultimate that sacrifices all corpse the hero summoned and deals 550 attack damage to enemies within range. So the range is pretty massive, the damage is pretty good, but the more corpses that are sacrificed, the higher the damage. So he has potential to do some crazy damage, kind of like Usha. Then on the battle skill, deals damage again, good area for the damage to enemies within range, and summons a corpse. This one's gonna happen pretty often, and most of the time you're gonna have at least one corpse summoned by this, and then the ultimate is gonna obviously do a little bit more damage. We don't have the extra multiplier that is added by the corpse, but still he does 2 AoE damages, and that's pretty good. Also on the passive, summons the corpse every time an ally dies where the ally was located for 15 seconds. Basically what this one means is you pair him with another hero that's a summoner that brings you tons of summons, and he's just gonna keep popping those corpses left and right, because every time the allies' corpses die, he summons a corpse. So, you know, his synergy with summoners is definitely massive, and he's an amazing one for sure. Definitely deserves to be on the list. Now let's move over to Radiant, and we're going to be talking about Arlo right now, okay? Arlo is basically Captain Jack Sparrow, okay, the lighter version of him. And the reason why he's good is because, first of all, again, brings Captain Aura of attacking all battles by 18%. He has an AoE that does 670% damage in that area, but if the hero has rally when unleashing the skill, it consumes rally and ignores 30% of the defense, which means the damage is going to be a lot higher. On his battle skill, he charges towards the enemy with the lowest HP, dealing damage to it. And then on the passive, the hero's basic attacks also deal splash damage to other enemies within range. Basically, all adjacent units will take damage. This one is scrolled up to 70%. So basically, every time he does his basic skill, there's going to be AoE damage. So that makes him a good AoE damage dealer, especially for Goblin. Then the next one is going to be again from Radiant, and that's Kaelis, right? So she deals 750 attack in the area, kind of like Eli, to enemies within range. If the hero has rally, when casting the skill, it consumes the rally and increases the damage dealt by 35%. So the way this one works, if I understand it correctly, it's not an extra, you know, 35% to this. No, I think it's multiplied by 35%. So this one goes to over 1,000 damage. So that's pretty massive. Battle skill, the hero gains 100% chance of the hero has 100% chance of gaining attack up. So obviously, if you're gonna get attack up and then you do the ultimate, that's massive. Especially because it has a small recharge time. Look at this, 8 seconds. Okay, after the initial 3 seconds, it's every 8 seconds she's gonna do this, and she grants it to the ally with the highest attack. So she gives it to herself, but also to the other ally that has the highest attack, which is massive. And then on the passive, again, basic attacks have a 30% chance, books up to 45, of being enhanced to spread, hitting an enemy, dealing you know, area damage. So this one's not as high of a chance as Arlo, but it's still 45%. That's good, and it's a higher damage. Okay, 175 AoE. So that's crazy. And then the last one that I actually added here, there was a discussion, like I was looking at several ones. I was looking at Vaska, I was looking at Fizzle, at Welby, but I decided to go with another Frost one, and that is Rafi. And Rafi again does some crazy damage, 700% attack, but the reason why she's so good is she also has a 75% chance to inflict frozen. When they are inflicted with frozen, unable to launch basic attacks, cast skills, and take less damage. But the thing is not that they take less damage, they are basically frozen. They cannot do anything, which means it gives you a little bit of control. On her battle skill, she also does 380% attack damage and 100% chance of inflicting attack penalty too, and that's crazy because it's on the battle skill. There's not many champions that are rares that do this on the battle skill, and that just makes it massive because you can use it for most boss encounters where you need attack penalty down. And also on the passive, when a hero is dealing damage to enemies inflicted with frozen, there is a 50% chance of reducing their ultimate by 10%. That's massive because that means they're not going to do their ultimate skill, and you know, it doesn't have to be only her frozen. You can bring somebody else that does frozen, pair them together, and if it's a boss fight where you can reduce their ultimate energy, that's going to be a massive combination. But yeah, I think this is gonna be it for the video today, guys. If you have somebody that you specifically like and you think should have made the list, please leave it in the comments below. We will look at it. We're gonna maybe adapt it in the tier list as well if it deserves it. But these were the 10 ones that I believed were the best DPS rares that are specifically good for for goblins, because like I said, that's priority number one. You want to have good AoE DPS for goblins so you can keep progressing through the game. But yeah, this is gonna be it for the video today, guys. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care everyone. Bye guys.